Gentlemen, I know you really care about tricep training. And I had a conversation today that it sparked something in me where I wanted to sit down and make a video and talk about a few things in particular about tricep training. And I'm going to tell you what happened in this conversation, but just so we're all on the same page, right? Just like you don't want to take advice on how to get skinny from a fat guy, I got to show you the credentials. Okay? There's the tricepticus. All right? You see the pop out? Okay? Nothing crazy, but for a 35-year-old dad bod, I'm doing all right. I've also been training for about 15 years, and triceps have always held a special place in my heart as my absolutely favorite thing to train. It's always been my favorite muscle group. Love training the triceps. And like I said, I've been doing it for 15 years. So, I got a thing or two to tell you guys. So here's what happened today in the gym. There's a younger guy in there, good dude. Work out with him a lot. I would describe him as a featherweight. A bit of a featherweight, but he's new, very new to the gym. He's just getting going, and that's just his frame. He's gonna put some mass on, but he needs time. And I saw him falling into a lot of the same traps that I fell into, and doing a lot of the same things that I was doing, which is why it was like, it was like frustrating for me to see, because it's like he's following in my footsteps. So I'm making this video because I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I was making. I want you to be ahead of me. I want you to get ahead of me and get fucking yeeted, right? I want you to get massive gunzos. And if you want good arms, your triceps are the foundation for having good arms. It is, the bicep is going to pull it all together. You can have some nice peaks on the biceps, but you need to have that meat on your arm, the dangly meat, and that's going to come from proper tricep training. So I look over there, and I go over to talk to my home skillet, my boy. I'm like, all right, what's going on? He said, I'm doing some tricep training. I'm going to do he's got the grip, the handle, whatever, the single handle. And he's going to do like the underhand cable extension. And I was like, okay. So, all right, tell me more. What are you doing after that? He's like, well, then I'm going to do some push downs with the bar. And I was like, all right, what are you doing after that? And he's like, well, then I'm going to do ropes. I'm going to do, rope extensions at the end. And I was like, okay. So he does a set, and I help him, he goes to what looks like failure, and then kind of do an assisted rep in there. And he's like, man, I did too many. I was like, bro, how many did you do? He's like 12. I'm not supposed to do more than 4 to 6. What? So you can tell why I proceeded to have a brain aneurysm in the gym. And I quite literally died and needed to be carried out on a stretcher. I sprinted home from the hospital. And that is when I threw this PowerPoint together so that we could talk about training, so that none of you give me a brain aneurysm in the gym. And first off, before I get into the excellent tricep talk, if you see like some science-based reel or just anything in general on Instagram that you think might trigger me and you want me to react to it, my Instagram is going to be, I made an Instagram so you guys can send me stuff to trigger and annoy me. So go ahead, in the description, my Instagram's in there. Send it over there, and we'll have some laughs together. So, In this video, we're going to do some tricep training mythbusters. We're going to talk about the different grips, and we're going to talk about methodologies, different rep schemes. We're going to talk about my favorite tricep exercises. We're going to talk about the secret sauce, the thing that really helped me catapult my tricep training forward. What I believe to be the most helpful tidbit of information, specifically when it comes to tricep training, that is going to keep you from doing it incorrectly. You know, when you see or hear people say, you see somebody like really leaned over doing the cables, or I can't do cables because I just feel it in my abs or my delts or whatever. It's because you're doing it wrong. But I got the sauce. Okay, it's gonna be all right. The professor is here. Class is beginning, so please be seated. Grab a white monster, rip it, pop it open, take some notes. All right? Let's get into it. Okay, so we are going to talk about the different grips, and I'm telling you this from a place of love. You do not need all of the different grips on the cables. You only need one. That is the summary of the grip talk. Okay, and again, I'm telling you this from a place of love because I did this. And I'm sure a ton of you guys have done it too, or seen somebody do it. You go over to the cable machine and you do I'm gonna do 3 sets of the ropes, and then I'm gonna do 3 sets of the easy, the V-bar press downs. I'm gonna do 3 sets of underarms. That is totally pointless. It is totally not necessary. Okay, if you think about it from a mechanical standpoint of the tricep, you are essentially, with all 3 grips, you are standing here and you are doing this. And you're either doing it with this grip, or this grip, or this grip. Brother, it is all the same. It is not doing anything. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to bend your arm at a 90-degree angle. Okay? Bend your arm at a 90-degree angle. And I want you to put your hand on your tricep. Kind of try to flex your tricep a little bit. Now, twist your wrist like that. You will notice that your tricep does nothing. It's because your tricep does not change with wrist angle, wrist twisting or flexion, or I don't know, whatever the technical term is. I don't care. Okay? Twistology. The twistology of the wristology does not change your tricep in any meaningful way, any sort of real way that's going to have any sort of effect. So, that being said, if let's say you want to do the underhand grip, right, the underhand thing, and you do it like that. Now, I think probably this is the same with most people, because of the way that it's kind of torqued. You're going to do less weight. You do a lot less weight when you do the underhand extension. For most people, usually they can get more weight. At least for me, like with a V-bar or almost a straight bar. For me, I get a little bit more weight with a V-bar. So you're purposely putting your wrist in an angle that doesn't work. So now you're actually weaker and you're not able to do as much. Okay, so you're not changing the stretch. You're not changing the stretch or the contraction of the tricep. You're just changing how much weight you can lift, and you're making it so you can lift less. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? It's not doing anything. You tracking? Okay. So can we skip with all these? Can we get rid of all these, please? You don't need them. So that's what I'm going. At most, you need one. You probably don't need any. But if you're going to do cables at all, please, just pick one grip. So we're going to go into tricep methodology and tricep training methodology a little bit. I want to talk about the planes of motion. Okay, and this kind of goes into what we were just talking about with the movements of the wrist. The Really, the only way that you can get a meaningful change on how the tricep is going to contract and stretch during an exercise is by changing the elbow position. If you'll notice, when you put your head, or you put your elbow above your head, kind of go like this, and you bend your arm down like that, that is the most amount of stretch. That is the peak stretch that you're going to get from your triceps, because your tricep kind of inserts down here a little bit, right? It's not so when you're putting your elbow above your head, you're lengthening the tricep to the maximum length because it kind of inserts like back here a little bit. And then the flippity flop of that, I'm standing up again. Peak contraction is the opposite. It's going to be back here, right? So do this for me. Straighten out your arm, and now bring your arm down like that. You'll start to feel it really tighten up once you start to bring your elbow behind your body. That's how you get the peak contraction. So, with that, you want to train, do different exercises that train those specific areas. If you're doing a cable or something with your elbow low, you really want to be focusing on that. Yes, stretch always, but peak contraction, trying to bring your elbows back as far as you can. So you can see why, if you're now leaning forward and kind of doing a press out in front of you, you're almost defeating the whole point of that, of doing it on the cables. I know I'm kind of splitting hairs here, but you get what I'm saying. So with that being said, the other thing is, if you want to really, really put some weight on the stretch, if you really focus on weighting the stretch up, best way to do that is with the elbow above the head. Sauce. That's some secret sauce. So that's getting into the mechanics of a little bit. And just, obviously, if your arms are straight out in front of you, well, then that's kind of going to be kind of right in the middle, right? So a good mix of both. Let's talk about reps a little bit. My guy at the gym has been watching too many science-based lifter clips on Instagram. I said, man, you need to get off the gram, because you're talking some. I said, you need to get off the Instagram because you're saying some wild nonsense. My personal opinion and experience, I don't think that I'm just going to throw it out there. I think the 1 to 5, 1 to even 7 rep range does not have as much use as we want it to. I don't think it's as useful as training let's say a 1 to 5 with like bench press or deadlift or squat. Just with it being an isolation movement, I just don't think you're really going to see the same benefits. And this is just for me personally. I've always felt it a lot better by doing 12 plus. I like 12 to 16. That's the rep range that I feel like is the most effective for me, is doing 12 to 16 reps. And that's nice and slow and controlled reps, focusing on the weighted stretch and focusing on a nice, good contraction. That's every rep, nice and solid, decent, slow, not really, really slow, but just regular, controlled tempo. I'm also not a huge fan of like super low reps stuff, because I feel like that's when I start to get a lot of pain in my elbows. And for me, because I like training triceps so much, pain in the elbows is not good, because I want to be able to, I enjoy the act of working out. I want to be able to do it pain-free. So that's the other part of with the reps, is that getting in those low reps, I would experience a lot of pain in the tendons, whereas I did not have that same experience in the 12 to 16 range. So give it a try. Maybe see what you think. So my favorite tricep exercises lately, number one has been the close grip bench. And then one arm overhead dumbbell extensions like this, just like that. And I don't say isolateral because I think saying isolateral, I can never remember which one that means. When somebody says isolateral or unilateral, I never know if they're talking about two or one hands. Just say one hand or two hands, please. Okay, saying isolateral is soy. It says it right here on the PowerPoint slide. And if soy is detected, opinion is rejected. That's correct. That's right, class. So get out of here. Come here. Get out of here. Another favorite. This is going to be on, with the free weight, easy bar overhead extension. I prefer these to a straight bar because just that little bit of angle on the wrists, I feel like takes a lot of torque off of the wrists and kind of where my forearms meet my elbows. So it's just a little less pain when I do that. And then the only cable exercise on here you see is the V-bar cable press down. And you notice I only have one cable thing on here. And I know for years, me personally, I know this is true for a lot of you too, most of your tricep exercises are all on the cables. The whole thing. Stop it. Stop. Get some help. Better help. You don't need that. Okay? Stop doing so much on the cables. You don't need it. But the one that I do like is on the V-bar, the little V-shaped metal bar, rocking slightly. And so what I do is I press it down in such a way that as I move down, I rock away slightly so that when I get to full extension, when my elbows are fully extended, the line of pull to the pulley is kind of pulling away, so it helps to keep that tension on my tricep muscle. Whereas if you're like directly under the line of pull and you fully extend, now the cable is going to be parallel to your arm and there's no weight directly on that tricep. The weight is now just going up through your arm, through your elbow, like all resting on your bone. So the rock is just to keep tension. All right, this is a little bonus tip I threw in here. This is ABF, okay? Matt, producer, fired. ABF is always be flexing. Super important. Everywhere. When you're driving in the car, when you're whipping and doing the whip and the nay-nay, you want to be flexing that tricep. Bang. Everywhere. You're in the shower, you want to be trying to flex that tricep. When I'm on the Peloton bike, guess what? That's right. Flexing the triceps. When I'm at work, sitting my because I do have a full-time job. Right? I got a job. I'm a full-time student. I got kids running around, wife. So when I'm at work, think I'm working? No. I'm flexing, dog. I'm flexing. Right? Taking extra long bathroom breaks to go into the mirror and bang out different poses. So this right here is some sauce because in the beginning, and even for years, it's going to take years and years to really build up that mind-muscle connection between the muscle that you probably hear people talk about all the time. But it's super, super important because if you have that mind-muscle connection, you're going to be able to work out your muscle better. And the thing is, here's how you know if you have a good connection. In my opinion, there's two indicators. If in any position you're resting and you can fully flex your tricep, that's one indicator that you have a good mind-muscle connection. The other thing is that if you can walk into the gym cold and get a full pump, well, not full pump, if you can get pumped with one set on your very first warm-up set, you have a good mind-muscle connection and you can work your triceps because you understand how to actually load them and use them. For me, I know this is true for me for years. It took a really long time. Only certain workouts. Only after a certain workout I would get, I feel a good tricep pump, or, it just took a really long time. That's just the way it is. But if, your experience when, now, very first set of anything, right? I mean, I could get a tricep pump doing this, probably pass out, but yeah, if I rage into my desk hard enough, I could get a sick, nasty, throbbing tricep pump right now. So that's some sauce. But here's the real sauce. That was just bonus sauce. This is the real sauce. Okay. This is the lat lock-in. You've probably seen on Instagram, unfortunately, accidentally, like I have, a lot of geeks and nerds who hook up like all sorts of different Velcro straps onto themselves with cables running in different directions, right? And when I was coming up, we used to call those gym fails. And there was whole entire videos called gym fails, and people strapping themselves up with weird things on the cables, and then we would say, hee hee hee, ha ha ha, that's so fun, that's so funny. And now people are doing it because it's optimal. This is the optimal way to train. No. It's the optimum way to look like a geek. Okay, if you have to have multiple cables like holding your arm in one position, you need to get better. You need to get better at standing still. I'm getting triggered just thinking about it. How is that even possible? Just stand better. I don't even know what to say. Jeez. I can't. Okay. So anyways, here's how you really have real stability through the tricep when you're working out. I call this the lat lock-in, and this happened because I learned this from a gentleman who I saw him bench 405, and so it was shortly after I had benched 315 for the first time, and I knew that getting to 405 for the first time, that's gonna be a beast, right? So I was like, yo, man, how do you get up to 405? What's the key? And he's like, well, the main thing to get up to 405 is you need to learn how to push with your lats. He did not elaborate, and I had no idea what he meant. So there I was, left, cold, naked, and afraid to try and figure out what the hell he meant by push with your lats. But gave it enough time. I was doing ABF, always be flexing, in the shower. And that's when I really figured it out. So this is this is going to carry over to your bench press as well. When you're going to conduct a set of tricep exercises, first thing you want to do before you start pushing, you want to do big chest, right? And I like to say big chest instead of shoulders back, because you can actually be rounded over and have your shoulders back. So I prefer big chest because that's also going to pull your shoulders back. So big chest, and then the next thing you want to do is flex your lats. You're going to pull your lats down, like you're kind of squeezing down like that. And that's going to lock in the back of your shoulder and really just get everything tight. It's going to anchor down the back of your tricep. Whereas if you're not locked in, you're kind of all schwoobly boobly, right? So you don't want to be all schwobbly bobbly. You want to lock in your shoulder with your lat, and then you can fully extend. Now I'm a little hairy right now, but we're doing it. Because we can't have a Frank the Tank video where I don't rip off my shirt a little bit. Yeah. It's getting hot in here. Okay, so anyways. Yeah, here's the lat lock-in. I'm gonna tell you what I'm doing, and then I'm gonna stand up and demonstrate it. Okay. So again, getting ready to push. I'm gonna practice pushing away from me. You can see everything lock in. It's lats and then triceps. Okay. See that? Yeah, that's right. So that's what you do, right? You got to lock it all in. Now this really is going to be key when you're doing your close grip bench press. And before I did the lat lock in bench, I did not feel anything on close grip bench. I felt it a little bit on my delts, maybe my chest, but to be honest, I did not really feel it in my triceps much. But I'm telling you, once you figure out how to lock in, and then you can bring that bar down, and you're just gonna really feel the deep stretch, okay, and then press it out away from you. It's gonna make a huge difference, I promise. And then when you go back to do regular bench, when you get to like a really grindy rep, and you're gonna feel everything kick in. You're gonna feel your lats kind of lock down, and your triceps are gonna help you carry you through the set. It's going to be a beautiful thing, and you're going to think back and say, wow, that bald guy was right. He was right. Thank you, Baldy. I'm going to say, you're welcome. I'm going to yell it down from the clouds. Okay, so that's the lat lock-in. And so now I just want to take you through quickly my tricep routine. Now this isn't just any old willy-nilly tricep routine thrown together with AI. Okay? This is not some 140-pound dork who wants to DM you for one-on-one coaching. I'm not going to DM you for one-on-one coaching. I'm not doing it. I'm giving it all away for free. You don't need a coach. So you better not accept any DMs from people who want one-on-one coaching. But this tricep workout over here, this tricep workout has been carefully and meticulously chiseled from 15 years of tricep. I'm a tricep enthusiast. Okay? It's not just any old Jimmy Ding Dong routine here. And you'll notice there's only 2 exercises, right? And the first thing is, don't listen to science-based propaganda. That's it. That's the most important part, truly. So your first exercise is going to be close grip bench. This is just so good. The amount of weight that you're able to, you can very efficiently load the close grip bench. That's why it's great. It's, with the same amount, let's say you try to do the same amount on cables, like you got to, there's things everywhere in the fucking thing, and trying to get a direct line of pull. When you're laying down on a bench, the pad's behind you, weight's in front of you, push it away. Super simple. Push it away, use your triceps. It does not get more basic and optimal than that. Okay, this is optimal. Right here, close grip bench. So, obviously I'm going to do a couple warm-up sets. And when I say 3 sets, not counting warm-ups, just doing a couple warm-up sets, making sure everything's good. And then I'm shooting for a weight that will bring me to failure somewhere in the range of 12 to 16 or 8 to 16. If I'm pushing calories in a deficit, if I'm pushing calories in a bulk, like I am right now, I'll do 3 sets, and I might shift the reps down to 8 to 12. When I'm cutting down, might do 1 or 2 sets, and they're going to be a little higher, like 12 to 16. So then the next exercise is standing one arm overhead extension. This is with a dumbbell. Okay. Notice we said one arm and not unilateral. So immediately you know what the hell I'm talking about. Okay. So one arm overhead extension. Okay, I'm going to show you right here. I love these. Okay, you want to just bring that dumbbell back, and I try to keep my elbow pointed up as high as possible. And then when I go and extend out, I actually push my arm out just ever so slightly, kind of like that way, so that and I don't extend all the way. Again, this is to keep tension on the muscle. So I bring it really deep down as far as I can go, extend out to like right here, bring it right down. And I got my lat, I'm locked in with my lat, and I'm pumping them out like that and going all the way down with my arm. Because that exercise right there, that's where I'm working the deep stretch. And I feel like after I do a couple good sets of these, immediately I feel it looks like there's a poopy diaper in my shirt. Okay? It's nice. Looks like my 2-year-old when he's running around. After he just hid in the corner and peered over the couch cushions at me. Say, "Are you pooping over there?" No. But there it is, in my shirt. The bumpage. So, that's it. Again, same story, except I would not, on this exercise, I would not shift it down to 8 reps. I would, whether I'm pushing calories or not, I'm still going to stay at 12 to 16. Because with it being like an isolation like that, you just, in my opinion, this is me, maybe it's different for you. I'm just really not going to feel it doing 8 reps or 7 or 6 or 5. I'm just not going to feel it. I might feel tendonitis, but I'm not going to feel like I worked the muscle. So yeah, that's all. That's it. Okay. The other thing that's really important here that I just want to touch on is food. The importance of actually eating, it just cannot be overstated. I can't tell you how many times over the years I went up to big dudes in the gym and I say, "Hey, man, how do I get big like you, man? I'm trying to get jacked and yeeted like you are." And they all say the same thing. You want to get big, you got to eat big. They literally all said that. Okay? So it's like the food part is so important. It's almost more important than training, right? Just think about it. Who is going to get bigger? You have 2 people. Think about the dorkiest science-based optimal lifter who has Velcro straps all over his entire body so that everything is perfectly isolated and optimal, right? But he just eats whenever he feels like, doesn't get his protein, doesn't track anything, doesn't check his macros, right? Just kind of eats blah about maintenance. Who's going to gain muscle, more muscle, that guy or the guy who eats 4,000 calories a day, counts it, eats all of his protein, and just does like 5 sets of close grip bench to failure? Like it's like when I say it like that, you all immediately know who would have the yeeted arms. And it's the dude who eats like crazy and pushes a lot of weight. Like it's not. I'm triggered again. You get it. Okay. Come here. Did you learn something? I hope so. All right, come on. Get in here. Get out of here.